Today we are going to learn about the American artist Dale Chihuly and his beautiful blown glass creations. Then you will get to create your own Chihuly-inspired blooming flower. Dale Chihuly was born in Tacoma, Washington in 1941. He decided that he wanted to be an artist after writing a paper about Van Gogh in college. Chihuly very quickly began experimenting with glass in his artwork, weaving small pieces of glass into tapestries. Chihuly loved the way that light traveled through glass and decided that he definitely wanted to be a glass artist. He studied and traveled around the world and eventually moved to the small island of Murano in Venice, Italy, which has a long history of glass art and glass blowing.
The art of glass blowing.
Glass blowing is a glass-forming technique that was invented by Syrian craftsmen in the 1st century BC. By the Middle Ages, Italy had become the center of the glass-blowing industry. The Venetian glassmakers from Murano produced cristallo, clear, fine glassware using a mold-blowing technique. Glass blowing involves inflating molten glass into a bubble or parison with the aid of a blowpipe or blow tube. A glass blower, glassmith, or gaffer is a person who blows the glass. This form of artistry uses very hot furnaces or ovens to heat glass up and turn it into a thick liquid substance. You can see that the people who do this form of art are highly trained and very careful when making their art. Something that we use every day, light bulbs, were actually created using a form of glass blowing. In 1903, Michael Owens engineered the first automatic bulb blowing machine that could produce thousands of light bulbs a day.
Chihuly's Glass School.
Fast forward to 1971, and Chihuly took everything that he learned about glass blowing in Murano and founded the Pilchuck Glass School in his home state of Washington. This is where he began to assemble a team of artisans who learned his style of glass blowing. This team of people would end up being essential in his career.
A series of accidents.
In 1976, Chihuly was involved in a serious car wreck in London, England, which resulted in him losing the sight in one of his eyes. This impacted his depth perception and peripheral vision, and he has worn an eye patch ever since. Later, in the 1970s, Chihuly fell while body surfing and dislocated his shoulder. He decided that he couldn't hold the heavy glass blowing pipes by himself any longer. Nevertheless, Chihuly did not give up, and he didn't stop blowing glass. He just hired people to help him. He learned early in his career that it was always a good idea to work with a team. Today, you can find Chihuly's large-scale glass creations all over the country and all over the world. He is known for his massive glass straw sculptures, his ceilings covered in glass flowers, and his art installations of glass creations in nature. Today, you will be creating your own Chihuly-inspired blooming flower. Instead of molten glass, you will be using a coffee filter, pens, and homemade spray starch.
Let's get started.
Step 1. Spread your paper coffee filter out flat on a piece of newspaper or another kind of paper. You will want to spread it out on paper because later when you are coloring, the markers will soak through the filter. Step 2. Using washable markers, color your coffee filter however you want. Think about the bright, swirling colors that you see in Chihuly's glass flowers. Color any pattern you would like, and don't worry about making your coloring perfect. When you spray your filter with spray starch, the colors will swirl and run together. Step 3. Use a rubber band to wrap your filter around a plastic cup. This will create the Chihuly flower shape. Your filter might slide up the cup a little. That is okay as long as it stays on the cup and doesn't slip off. Step 4. Place your filter on a plastic plate and spray the coffee filter with the spray starch until it is quite wet. If you see puddles of liquid on top of your filter, you can tip your filter over so that the extra liquid runs off. Step 5. Place your filter in a sunny place to dry. If it is rainy, cold, or windy outside, you can place your filter somewhere dry inside your house. Step 6. After your filter has dried completely, remove the rubber band and take it off of the plastic cup. Voila! You should have a beautiful Chihuly-inspired flower with swirling, vibrant colors. Step 7. If you have supplies to make multiple flowers, you can make your own miniature Chihuly-inspired art installation. You might attach several flowers to a piece of black or white paper. Or you can ask your parents to use some double-stick tape or a tiny bit of adhesive to arrange your flowers on a window. This will allow the light to shine through your flowers and give them a beautiful glass-like effect.
Homemade art supplies.
Did you notice that we used homemade spray starch for this project? At the time of the making of this video, we are all in the middle of fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, which means that all of us are staying home from work and school in order to slow the spread of the disease. Because we can't shop as much as usual, this is a great time to be creative and use homemade art supplies made with items that you can find around your house. Today we use spray starch that was made out of water and cornstarch. Here are some other art supplies that you can make from items in your kitchen. Salt dough using flour, salt, and water. Cinnamon apple air fresheners using applesauce and cinnamon. And painting with berries using smashed up leftover berries. Think about all of the art supplies and non-art supplies that you can get creative with in your own home. Keep making art, tigers, and be sure to show us photos of your finished project on Facebook.